let's welcome Sally Gillies.
G'day. I love to babysit, and I have a pet dingo. It was really challenging growing up in Australia, what with dodging kangaroos and avoiding snakes with venomous fangs, and also having dinner of Vegemite sandwiches with a side of Dancing Queen. But probably the most trying thing was trying to deal with the Australian blokes. Take, for example, trying to get a date with one. I mean, an average bloke there thinks that being metrosexual is having sex in a city park. He thinks going to a his and her spa is he goes to the gym and I go to the swimming pool. And heaven forbid I actually glammed up for a first dinner date, because the odds are once I've got on the makeup, the skirt and the heels, I'm going to find out that we're going to the local pub with his mates Gazza and Steve-O and Steve-O's girlfriend Roz. But the worst was dealing with the macho Australian bloke who's at a pub trying to pick up a girl, because my idea of being picked up is that we have a drink and some small chat. But his idea of being picked up is he's going to pick some girl out in that pub there who's going to blow up his didgeridoo. So, of course, any guy approaching me in a pub is probably going to end up sounding like a guy voicing an opinion at a misogyny conference. So a lot of my Canadian friends often tell me that they'd love to visit Australia, but it's too far. So I just want to assure you, it's too far. I mean, 16 hours to fly there. Do you know what you can do on the same amount of time it takes to fly to Australia? Oh, yeah. You could do a round of speed dating, you could take in dinner and a movie, you could probably have sex before going to sleep, and that's only the first 5 hours of the flight. So that's my idea of travel, having a great time. But for my friends from Kitsilano, their idea of travel is booking a car to go to drive across the border to Burnaby.
That's so true.
So I've travelled a lot over the years, and some accidents have happened. Take the time I arrived in Moscow and my visa indicated that I'd had a gender reassignment. So I texted my parents and I was like, how have you kept this a secret from me for so long? My mum, being all English and proper, she texts back and she's like, I treat all my offspring equally, dear. My dad, on the other hand, was thrilled to bits to finally have a son. And he begins texting back tips on how to groom my beard and how to put on a condom so I don't get unwanted pregnancies happening. So I've passed that middle-age milestone marker and I now have to wear these glasses. That's because without them, I can't see pimples, dimples, and wrinkles. No one told me that when you got to middle age, you got a free facelift. But I feel for the youth of today because their idea of inner beauty is an Instagram selfie touched up with a beauty app. It was much easier when I was younger because we were all ugly. And inner beauty was something that us women told ourselves we had to make ourselves feel better. But all of this was sorely tested when I went to a nightclub for the first time for the over 50s. My first impression when I walked in was, my God, this place is bright. I mean, for a middle-aged woman, bright is not good. It's a disaster. I mean, look at me. In my 20s, the twins here were barely covered in neon and spandex. Now I stand before you, cloaked in deception and 3 layers of spandex. Sorry, Spanx. But if I thought I was having some issues there, the men were truly in a much worse place. They all had the desperate air of somebody who had survived the nuclear fallout of a divorce, but now there was no one to give them a cup of tea when they got home from work. So there they were. They had the pastel sleeves of their Miami Vice jackets pushed up, and they were all doing the Cabbage Patch dance. Their bellies going one way, their arms going another, and yeah, it looked that bad. So I tell you, I was not going to need my glasses that night. So, thank